This is CBS.
KOTV 6, Tulsa. This is the News on 6, the 6 o'clock edition, with Clayton Vaughn, Karen Carlson, meteorologist Jim Giles, and Bob Stevens with sports.
High winds are driving flames from fast-moving grass fires toward communities around Bartlesville, and families are being evacuated this evening. Good evening, I'm Clayton Vaughn.
And I'm Glenda Sylvie, sitting in for Karen Carlson. Families are being forced out of their homes tonight around Bartlesville as a grass fire burns out of control. Terry Hadley is at the scene near Bartlesville and joins us now. Terry?
Well, Glenda, actually, we got stopped way short of Bartlesville, about 30 miles south at the junction of U.S. Highway 75 and State Highway 20. A grass fire here hopped the road, hopped U.S. 75, hopped State Highway 20. Some Skiatook firefighters have been keeping the fire away from the only real structure here, which is a car dealership. If you're looking back at me, you see that fire unit with the firefighters running some lines in. They put out the flames around the car dealership. As you can see, the air is very smoky, the wind's blowing very hard, everything's swirling around. The flames in this area seem to be mostly out. Now, up north in Bartlesville, we understand there have been flames, reports of flames, 40 feet high in the area between Bartlesville and Dewey. Now, this picture you see earlier is from State Highway 20, right near U.S. Highway 75. Skiatook firefighters keeping the flames away from the highway. It's about all they can do. This wind is blowing everywhere. The flames will go up, then down, then start up again. We're seeing emergency equipment still arriving here, and as you can see, there's really not enough equipment to handle it. We have flames in back of us as you go live. You can see how fast these flames pick up. You see the fire, look how fast that moves, moving right to left across your screen. We'll keep you posted on what's happening out here, and we have another crew going up to Bartlesville, but this gives you an idea of just how fast this fire can spread out here. Glenda?
All right. Thank you, Terry. We do need to bring you up to date on what we have found out from Bartlesville. And the west side of the Oak Park housing addition, apparently several residences there were threatened. The fire on the west side of the housing addition is apparently under control, but as I understand, Clayton, there are fires springing up on the north side. And as Terry mentioned, the wind is so high, they just keep popping up.
That's the latest information that we have. The sheriff's office out there says that the Oak Park addition is about 200 homes, and that there are 30 to 40 on the north edge that were threatened for a time. No more than 20 to 25 people were apparently evacuated from their homes, either because of heavy smoke in the homes or the fire danger. We understand now that Terry Hadley has some additional information that he wants to add from the scene up there at Highway 20 and 75. Terry, are you still there, sir?
I'm here, Clayton, and all we have in the way of information is what you can see and how fast this spreads. Some of the workers here at this car dealership are a little worried. Those flames are getting close to this repair shed over here. The firefighters, if Grant Durandale, our photographer, can move me to your right, they're moving a line out here, but you get an idea of how fast this spreads. The firemen are having a little trouble just keeping track of it. We'll stay here and keep you updated if anything warrants, but right now this is spreading so fast, it's literally quite out of control, Clayton.
All right. And the situation in Bartlesville is also a situation that's very fluid at the moment, and Laura Brewster and Wendy Burkeen are either in Bartlesville or very close to it, and we expect to have some additional information from them later in the broadcast. Now, the weather is what's causing at least a part of this, and Jim Giles has been standing by and watching that, not only here in Oklahoma, but up in Kansas as well, Jim.
You're right, Clayton. We have a massive low-pressure storm that's up along the Kansas-Nebraska line. Winds 30 to 40 miles per hour in the Bartlesville area. Visibility is 3/4 of a mile with blowing dust, even lower where we find smoke. Let me show you some footage from right here in Tulsa. Just moments ago, they're reporting now winds here of 20 to 30 miles per hour. Visibility at the airport reported officially 1 mile. I'd say from other reports I've heard from anywhere from a half to about 1 mile visibility. I'm afraid these winds are going to stay rather stiff. You can see the flag whipping there in the breeze, probably until 9 o'clock or so, then gradually taper off 25, then 20 miles per hour as we head into the nighttime cooling. Glenda?
All right. Thank you, Jim.
And, of course, we will have updates as this thing develops this evening.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Another news today, speaking of a wreck involving an EMSA ambulance yesterday, EMSA officials say no one was asleep at the switch. The crash came shortly after the ambulance was rerouted. The patient in the ambulance died, but today the medical examiner said the death was not the result of the wreck. Miles Saunders has been following the story today and joins us now with more. Miles?
Glenda, officials with both St. Francis and EMSA have been trying to piece together what happened yesterday. Our focus is on why the ambulance had to turn around after heading for St. Francis to go to St. John Medical Center instead. The decision was made in haste. Between 4 and 5 o'clock yesterday, an EMSA ambulance crew had a patient in full cardiac arrest on its hands at South Roads Mall. The decision was made immediately to take the patient to the nearest hospital, St. Francis. But when a dispatcher at EMSA headquarters called to tell St. Francis the patient was on the way, this is what happened.
Again, are you guys going to be able to accept this patient?
We're on divert for any critical care ICU patient.
Okay, I'll divert. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
In accordance with a decision made Sunday, critical care patients were being diverted away from St. Francis since its intensive care unit was full. With that, EMSA, a little more than a mile away from St. Francis, decided to turn around and head several miles to St. John Medical Center.
Well, you need to divert to St. John. St. Francis is diverted. We've got to divert from there to St. John, sir.
The question, aside from the accident, is how often are patients in desperate need of emergency care delayed in getting to the hospital by incidents such as yesterday's?
It doesn't happen very often. Now, hospitals go on diversion status quite frequently. The numbers of patients that are actually diverted because of the diversion status are not very many.
But according to EMSA, there have been 3 such diversions in the last 2 weeks. None as critical as yesterday's, though. Under Tulsa emergency protocol, paramedics have the option of overriding divert status if they think the situation warrants. But in yesterday's case, the paramedics, with a patient not responding to first-line heart attack drugs, apparently decided time was no longer a critical factor. They decided to reroute.
I think they did exactly what, at the time of the situation, the proximity to St. Francis and the proximity to other hospitals that could handle the patient, I think they did appropriate. No one was asleep at the switch. I just wish that we'd had all the beds in the city available.
That is what goes to the core of the problem here. What kind of cases hospitals can and can't handle is constantly changing. One of the big reasons is a shortage not in equipment, but in people, nurses. EMSA can't do much about that, but they do plan to closely monitor these divert statuses at hospitals more closely in the future.
All right, thank you, Miles. Clayton?
Well, hospitals all over the country are feeling the pinch from that nursing shortage. There's no difference here in Tulsa, where a few hospitals will soon be fighting for nursing school graduates from the class of '89.
Now, everybody's right-handed, so which glove are you going to put on first?
Right. These Tulsa Junior College nursing students are learning to put on sterile gloves, gloves that will give them protection on the job. But there's nothing to protect them from stress, long hours, and low pay. These nursing students will earn from $18,000 to $22,000 a year after they graduate. The problem is that they may not be earning much more than that from 7 to 10 years down the road. That's part of the reason for the nursing shortage. Brenda Walls, president of the National Association for Healthcare Recruitment, says there are other reasons.
Patients who used to come into the hospital for your minor surgeries are now going into outpatient clinics and outpatient surgeries. So those that are admitted are very sick, and it's that increased demand that has really created the nursing shortage.
Good morning.
Good morning. Because patients admitted into the hospital are sicker, the job of nurse is becoming more intense, more stressful. Because of that stress, many nurses are choosing to work for doctors or in the home health care field. All of that has made the competition for nurses fierce.
Even in the Tulsa area, it's highly competitive. As an example, we have had a hospital from out of this city come in and offer the students a meal in order for them to be able to talk to the students about what's available at their hospital.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Not to this intensity, no.
And neither have the students. What kind of deals are you hearing that are out there for nurses?
Oh, tuition, housing when you go to that state, job offers, money.
It's pretty appealing.
Oh yes, the money is.
There aren't easy answers to the nursing shortage, but some hospital officials say they'll continue to make nursing as attractive as they can. And they may have to look toward increasing the number of LPNs and nurses' aides to help take the load off nurses, already overloaded with the task of providing quality health care. Wendy Burkeen, Channel 6 News.
And the Tulsa Hospital Council is helping in the local effort to recruit people into nursing, but hospital officials are saying the nursing shortage here in Tulsa is likely to become worse before it gets better.
A partial bill is in from last week's snowstorm, and it runs to nearly $22 million. The state says the storm did $21.9 million in damage to farm buildings and equipment, killing about 4 million chickens and 1,200 head of livestock. And this is the assessment from only 10 of the 16 counties in the state devastated by the storm. A complete report will be given to Governor Bellman next week. Half of the farmers affected don't have insurance for snow and ice damage. Bellman has asked that the counties be declared disaster areas so farmers can qualify for federal loans. Oklahoma Secretary of State Hannah Atkins is under consideration for a job with the Bush administration. The position is an appointment to the Federal Consumer Product Safety Commission. But Atkins says she's not packing her bags for Washington yet. She still has to undergo an FBI background check and then Senate confirmations. Governor Bellman is state chairman of President Bush's talent search team, but said he didn't nominate Atkins for that specific job. Bellman said he told administration officials Atkins would be an outstanding appointment to some federal position.
A light turnout reported across Oklahoma today for the special election on State Question 620. Fewer than 30,000 people are expected to vote here in Tulsa County. That would be a turnout of about 10%. State Election Board predicts about 200,000 votes, or perhaps even fewer, cast statewide. Now, if the question is approved, Oklahoma's constitution would be changed to require legislative sessions to end by the last Friday in May. Polls close all over the state at 7.
Turnout has been good in Creek County for the special election to fill a vacant seat in the State House of Representatives. Two next-door neighbors, Republican Lester Henderson and Democrat Mike Tyler, are on the ballot for the post vacated by Benny Venata of Sapulpa. Venata resigned for personal reasons.
And coming up on the news, a drug bust over in Osage County.
Tulsa police arrest 2 suspects in a morning bank robbery.
And later in the broadcast, we join Bob Stevens out at the Tulsa Pavilion for the opening of the CBA playoffs.
Now, move into Mercury Topaz and Mercury Tracer and choose either low 4.9 annual percentage rate financing or big cash back. Plus, add popular equipment package savings to Topaz cash back and save $1,600. Make your move today. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Of all the wonderful places to catch fish, the most popular is this one, Long John Silver's, where you can tie into our 3-piece fish dinner for only $3.69. 3 flaky fillets dipped in our original secret recipe batter, served up crunchy and golden brown with all the extras, now only $3.69. Long John Silver's, the best recipe for seafood.
Because of the sweeping income tax changes, many Americans became our clients for the very first time last year.
I took a look at the new form and said, forget it. I need help bad.
I've always done my own taxes in the past, but never again. Don't face the tax laws alone. Our people will get you the maximum refund you're entitled to.
Hooray for H&R Block, as far as I'm concerned.
Discover what millions of Americans already know. H&R Block gets you the maximum refund you're entitled to.
Don't settle for less.
Armed robbers hit a branch of Sooner Federal Savings and Loan today. 2 suspects in custody. Police say 2 women pulled the holdup about 10 this morning. Witnesses got a description of the getaway car and its tag number. Police then arrested 44-year-old Linda Fields and a 15-year-old girl whose name is not being released. Investigators say they found evidence in Fields' apartment linking the 2 to the crime, but the money hasn't been recovered. Police say the 2 are also suspects in the robbery of the Bank of Oklahoma branch out on South Garnett back in January.
A methamphetamine lab has been busted in Osage County. Sheriff's deputies say they found a pound of methamphetamine, or crank, after searching a house west of Sperry. Deputies also found marijuana, scales, and recipes for making methamphetamines. The homeowner gave deputies permission to search the house after he was stopped for a traffic violation. Investigators had never been able to search the house before, though they'd suspected there was a lab there.
We had several neighbors that complained about the traffic moving in. We've had some of the business people within Taosberry report the subject coming into their store that had a strange chemical odor about his person. And that we had some street talk from the street people saying that there was possibly a crank lab working in West Taosberry somewhere.
Deputies say they may try to confiscate the land and everything on it if the homeowner is convicted on drug charges. Formal charges have not yet been filed.
Jim joins us again with a look at our weather, and the wind is still blowing out there, creating a very dangerous condition for those folks up north.
You bet. Winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour up around the Bartlesville area. A lot of blowing dust in the air. Visibility is on the way down right now, even in the Tulsa area. It's spreading to the south. Cooler air for tomorrow. Forecast coming up.
I'll tell you a secret about my grandpa. If you think he drops prices as low as they can go on the weekends, watch what he does on the weekdays. From now until midnight Thursday, buy a luxurious '89 Fifth Avenue sedan, 7 to choose from, regularly $21,000, and my grandpa's dropped the price to $16,700, or only $297 a month. Plus, 60 seconds in the fabulous money machine with each car sold. From the dealer that puts you first, Tink Wilkerson, 9047 New Sepulpa Road.
At first, Amy just couldn't talk about it. She seemed so withdrawn. We knew something wasn't right. At Children's Medical Center, we found the personal and professional help we were looking for. The first step was a phone call. The second step was a private evaluation. And she didn't have to talk to start getting better. At CMC, the good news is it works. Children's Medical Center, for more than 60 years, helping kids get better.
I'm a Peter Pan nut. I admit it. Why else would I be standing here in the middle of the night? I dream of peanut butter sandwiches. I can't go 10 minutes without that creamy, delicious Peter Pan. Oh. Did you know it doesn't have any cholesterol? Did you know it's 3 in the morning? Eat some peanut butter anytime you can, but only if it's Peter Pan.
The search never ends. From Costa Rica to Cameroon, from Venezuela to the jungles of Java, Hills Brothers goes all over the world for the best coffee beans. 50 countries in all. When you want the best, you have to be willing to go anywhere, even to the ends of the earth.
Well, as you know, we're going into storm season here in eastern Oklahoma, and I have a number of calls, people asking if there's a tornado seminar in the area, and I'm happy to say the answer is yes. Severe weather seminar tonight. I'll be there. Starts at 7 o'clock, Will Rogers High School. Please join us. It is free. Also, Channel 2 and Channel 8 will have representatives there, National Weather Service. We'll be talking weather. Notice how dusty it is in the background here in Tulsa. Officially, the visibility is 1 mile, but anywhere from a half to 1 mile visibility, fairly common for the area. You can see the buildings in the background just simply fading away. Winds are out of the north at 20 to 30 miles per hour, locally up to 40 miles per hour by the time you get to the Bartlesville area. Temperatures are 70, about 70, and going down. Rising barometer, 50 was our morning low, 76 our afternoon high. Remember the pollen count yesterday? It was more than 22,000. Well, it's high today. Not quite that high. It tops out at just less than 8,000. Cedar still the primary contributor. Also, maple and elm showing up very prominently. Ozone, now the man-made pollutants, 47. That's in the low range. Let me show you the dust on the satellite. We're seeing that dust down through Bartlesville, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. I've had reports of a quarter to a half-mile visibility in Oklahoma City. That blowing dust right on up across Kansas. Winds to 50 miles per hour or so out over western Kansas. 40 degrees it is now in Goodland, 47 in Kansas City. Notice Oklahoma City and we are at 70 degrees. 88 degrees down in Dallas. They, too, will cool off tonight. As a matter of fact, we're dropping 30s down south of Tulsa and Oklahoma City, 40s down along the Red River. The teens and 20s up over Kansas, I think, will stay to the north of us. Hallelujah for that. Our temperatures will start turning around and warming up before the week is over. How about our highs tomorrow? Definitely cooler than today. We're going to push the 50s down to Oklahoma City and Tulsa, 60s just to the south of us, 70s and 80s only over Texas. Notice how cold it is, though, for the northern plains and the Great Lakes, and a major snowstorm brewing up there. As a matter of fact, near blizzard conditions moving across the Great Lakes this evening. Some more cold air trying to get to us, but I think it will remain to the north of us in the coming days. Definitely slightly cooler air working down through Oklahoma. And again, warming up, though, before the weekend. Let me show you the forecast now. For the evening period, fair skies, windy, a lot of blowing dust out there, strong gusty north winds, 60 degrees by 9 o'clock. For the overnight period, still hazy, cooler. Northern lights, maybe we'll have a chance to see them tonight. We missed out last night because of the clouds, but fair skies tonight, 37 degrees. Tomorrow morning, still hazy, a tad chilly, 39 by 9. For tomorrow afternoon, should move to 58 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Outlook on into Thursday, looking even better, sunny skies and 66. How about Friday? I anticipate temperatures back into the 70s on Friday. Still partly cloudy and only a slight chance of showers Friday. I say a pretty good chance of thunderstorms on Saturday. Some of them could get heavy, by the way. 72 Saturday's high. On into Sunday, it'll drop back off into the 50s before the weekend is over.
All right. Thank you, Jim. We're going to go check in with Bob Stevens, who is out and about tonight at the Fairgrounds Pavilion for the opening of the CBA playoffs.
Glenda, you know, 3 months ago we didn't even know what a fast breaker was, and now I feel like we are one, getting ready for the CBA playoffs that start tonight. We'll talk with Otis Birdsong, a guy who's been through the playoff thing before, when we come back.
Extra, extra, read all about it this week on Win, Lose, or Draw.
Psychic's head explodes.
Hollywood's hottest celebrities reveal all.
I think we'll just cover that up.
Martin Mull denies artistic talent.
No!
Kevin Dobson confesses to having fun.
It was just incredible.
Jackie Collins shares secret desire.
That's great to me, isn't it?
And Marsha Warfield pleads the fifth.
Yeah.
Catch all the stories this week on Win, Lose, or Draw.
Weekdays at 6:30 on Channel 6.
Record days at Evans means record savings for you because all present stock must go.
We've bought more furniture, record amounts, than anyone in Oklahoma has ever bought at one time. It's starting to come in, so.
All present stock must go.
Example, 50% off a huge selection of kids and young adult furniture. Choose from cherry, white, or oak. This Broyhill loft bed would be perfect for a kid's room. It's $229 because.
All present stock must go.
We sell more furniture than anyone in Tulsa. Come see why at 36 and South Sheridan. Evans.
Jimmy, did you know your daddy is planning for your future? He just bought a Toro GTS lawnmower with a 5-year starting guarantee. For 5 years, it'll start in the first or second pull, or Toro will fix it free. So your daddy knows it'll be around a long time, which means someday you might be using it to mow the lawn.
See the new 5-year guaranteed to start Toro lawnmowers at these Toro dealers.
Quality chiropractic care just got more affordable. Life Chiropractic announces no out-of-pocket expense until the end of the month. You pay nothing. This offer is good for a limited time at Life Chiropractic in Broken Arrow, Coweta, Tulsa, Owasso, and Bixby. With no out-of-pocket expense. Your insurance is accepted as payment in full. Life Chiropractic. Call today. This offer is good for a limited time.
Welcome to your new life. Life Chiropractic.
There are a couple of old folk tales to talk about in basketball these days. One in pro basketball says players only get excited for the last 2 minutes of the game. Well, the CBA took care of that. They put in a system where you try to win every quarter you play. The other old folk tale is that the players don't really get going until it's playoff time. Well, I got a guy here who can maybe answer that second question. Otis Birdsong, who's been in the NBA playoffs before. The CBA playoffs start tonight. You've been just laying back, waiting, getting ready because now you know it's payoff time?
Well, not really, but it is a different season once the playoffs start, and I haven't been down here that long, and I don't really know the guys that much, and it's been kind of tough trying to motivate myself, but this is what it's all about, you know, on any level, whether you're playing for the state championship in high school or the NCAAs in college or the playoffs in the NBA or the CBA, this is where it is at, and this is the fun time now.
It really does. You guys, I think the play will come up a notch this next week, won't it?
I think it will, just for the mere fact that you don't have to worry about quarter-to-quarter games, you know, and now you just go out and play and try to beat the team, and the intensity level should rise. You know, it's hard to say because a lot of guys haven't been in the playoffs, but I know my intensity level is already up.
Wes Matthews has made a difference to this ball club in quarterbacking a little bit. Has he made a difference to your game? You know, we got an all-NBA backcourt here.
Well, it certainly helps because he's played with me and against me, and he knows what I like to do. He's seen me play a lot, and it makes a difference. If you get open, he'll get you the ball, and that's what I like to do, move without the ball, and he certainly looks for me.
All right, good luck to you guys in the playoffs. It starts tonight. You've seen enough of Pensacola. You guys have played them the last 6 games, maybe as many as 7 more. You ought to know what they can do now. Huh?
Well, both teams know each other very well, especially after this past weekend. So it's just going to boil down to the team that executes their stuff the best.
Otis, take care.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. Otis Birdsong of the Fast Breakers. Again, the game tonight at 7. There's also a game tomorrow night at 7. Now to the bad news. This is the news I really can't believe. Oklahoma State University's best basketball player, Richard Dumas, has been suspended from the team and has entered a substance abuse program. Dumas led the Cowboys this year, averaging 16 points a game, was second team All-Big 8, but he said today in a statement read at OSU, "I feel I've let my mother, my coaches, my teammates, and the fans down because of a substance abuse problem. I'm entering a rehabilitation program to change my life around." He didn't say what substance has been involved, but Richard Dumas is no longer, at least for now, an Oklahoma State Cowboy basketball player. Now to the strange story of 4 coaches. One who got a new job today, one who decided to keep his old job, one who just flat got fired, and one who's trying to join his new team. First, the guy who got the new job. Washington State has hired a new football coach. He has, his name is Mike Price. He's from Weber State. He, of course, replaces Dennis Erickson, who was hired away by Miami. Now to the basketball coaches. Gene Cady, almost going to Arizona State, but instead he turned down the big bucks and decided to stay at Purdue. Bernie Bickerstaff has been the coach of the Seattle Supersonics, but he has a bleeding ulcer, was found out the last week or so. He's missed the last 4 games, finally getting to go back home, but this one's the weird one. Bobby Donewald, coach at Illinois State. 10 years he coached at Normal, 10 years he won, 6 times he went to postseason. This year he lost and got fired because he wasn't really a nice guy. All he did was win. And in college baseball action today, a record-breaking day for the ORU Titans. They won the first game of a doubleheader. This sounds like Clayton's T-ball team. Titans 32, Missouri St. Louis 3. Titans also got 15 runs in the 7th inning. They were beating Stephen F. Austin last we checked before the smoke and everything rolled down to Johnson Stadium, so it could be a doubleheader sweep for ORU. OSU also a winner. But we've got basketball here tonight, the Fast Breakers in Pensacola to start the playoffs. Glenda?
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Just ahead now in the broadcast, making Girl Scout cookies out of ingredients as wholesome as the organization.
That and more next in the Viewer Mail.
It's March, and your Jeep Eagle dealer is blowing away the competition. Get a great deal on an Eagle Premier, plus extra savings. Get cash back on top of your Eagle Summit deal, and get Jeep savings this big as we set out to break all sales records. There's never been a better time to grab savings like these. But hurry, once these deals stop flying, it's all over till next March.
See your Tulsa Jeep Eagle dealers, where you can expect the best.
At Ken Sasser's, the same window, the same fabric, and the same detail can cost you 30 to 40% less than major department stores. And while a department store could keep you hanging for 6 or 8 weeks, Ken Sasser's can deliver your new draperies 7 to 10 days after receipt of fabric. Ken Sasser's, quality draperies with carpets, upholstery, and blinds as well.
Thanks, Ken Sasser.
I quit.
Don't bother. We're out of business.
Why?
The Marshall's anniversary party?
As I was setting the table, I noticed them. Noticed what?
Spots. Spots on everything. I tried wiping them off.
But maybe they didn't notice.
We noticed.
The party's over for this catering business.
Noticing spots on your dishes? You're not using Cascade. Cascade sheeting action gets dishes virtually spotless.
These dishes look great. It's the back. Oh, can we handle their annual dinner?
Beautifully.
For virtually spotless dishes, nothing beats Cascade.
Where do you find the best seafood around?
18, 19, 20, and look for a sign.
A Shoney's sign.
Arr!
R. This year, Shoney's has added something new to our seafood festival. Our new steak and shrimp platter.
Fire update in a moment. Time now for some of the mail from the viewers. This from Loretta Butchko of Tulsa to Tulsa Girl Scout Headquarters. Dear leaders, I read with alarm the list of ingredients that make up Girl Scout cookies, or at least Savannah cookies at least. Palm oil, palm kernel oil, coconut oil. These are all conducive to heart disease and should not be part of the diet of our young people who consume large quantities of these cookies at this time of year. Other baking companies have switched to more healthful ingredients in their products. Please arrange to have whomever bakes Girl Scout cookies next year eliminate these health hazards. I would also like to recommend that these ingredients be listed on the order forms for the benefit of those of us who have to make choices. And there's this from Jay Fellini of Collinsville and the Che Op Shah Ranch, which presumably accounts for the stationery in the shape of a cow. Dear Clayton, I would much rather be confronted by a person with a concealed cold beer than a person with a concealed hot weapon. Now, an update before we leave you on those grass fires that are burning still out of control north of Tulsa as far as Bartlesville.
Terry Hadley is out near Skiatook and is joining us now. Terry, what's the latest?
Glenda, that car dealership that's on Highway 20 just west of U.S. Highway 75 has escaped any damage. Firefighters from Skiatook and Collinsville put out the fire around this area. In the horizon, though, you can see the range of this fire. That spreads like, from here it looks like about a mile long. If you can see those flashing lights, there is a crew out there with one of those small fire trucks working that fire. They've already worked about a mile of it from State Highway 20 and have been able to get it out. You can see all this ground in back here, how parched it is and blackened. And that's how fast that fire spread. If there's any good part about this, with this season, there's not much growth. The scrub brush, the tall grass is not very tall. It's about 3, 4, 5 inches high, so there's not that much to burn. And so far, things look pretty good here at the Skiatook area along Highway 20, but for everybody in this area, it gives you an idea of the potential for fire danger tonight, and we'll be watching that, Glenda.
And once again, we do have crews on their way to Bartlesville, probably there by now. We'll have more for you at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
And that's the news for this Tuesday, March 14th. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for sharing your time. Good night.
Clothing for Clayton Vaughn, provided by Harold's.
Welcome to the